Do your children have the uncanny ability to push your buttons like no one else on earth? Mine did. And I think God made it that way on purpose. Hi, I'm McCove. I'm the Mom Mentor, and I'm here to bring hope and peace to your life, mothering, and relationships. So why would God have made it so that our children push our buttons? That seems like kind of a cruel joke. But I always say he is far more concerned with our character than our comfort. And that's part of why I think he did it on purpose. So when I was in junior high, we had a Bible class, went to a Christian school, and so we had Bible class. And one of the lessons that has always stuck with me was how, as a child, was like a diamond in the rough. And my parents were like the hammer and the chisel in God's hands to shape me and bring out the character and the things that God had placed in me. My parents were those tools to shape me. And tried to keep that in mind as a teenager who didn't always have the best of attitudes. But as I had children and I homeschooled my children all the way through, my children are currently almost 22, almost 21, 19, and 4. When I was raising the first 3, I homeschooled them all the way through. And I would talk to a lot of moms who would be like, I could never homeschool my kids because they just drive me crazy. And I was like, that's exactly why God called me to homeschool, is so that he could use my kids to shape me, just like he had used my parents to shape me into who he wanted me to be. They worked to rub off those rough edges of being incredibly shy. And I didn't want my kids to grow up being like painfully shy. So I had to work on that and start saying hi to people in the grocery store or waiting in the grocery line, and overcome that because I didn't want to model that for them. So that was the way God was using them to shape me. The things that they would do that would irritate me was highlighting stuff in me. It was about me, not about them. They're children. They're acting like children. They're behaving appropriately. And yes, they need to be trained and that needs to be directed. But if I'm responding like a child, then that's not going to go well. So he was using things that they would do to show me areas I still needed to grow. Areas I wasn't trusting him, areas I was too easily offended, areas that I was still hurt or believing lies about myself. And so that's why I think God does it on purpose, because he doesn't want you to stay broken. He doesn't want you to be hindered from all that he created you to be. And your children can be really powerful tools in shaping you into that. And one of the reasons is because they act like us. They're around us all the time. Each of them have different parts of their personality that is similar to ours. And it seems to go both ways. Like the ones that are the most similar are sometimes the hardest to deal with if it's a character trait that we're not really that comfortable with in ourselves. And then also the opposite can be true, that when they're the opposite of us, that really rubs us and gives us a place to grow. So one of my sons is he's energized by arguing. Like it's his personality, and he truly is energized. He loves to argue. It is fun for him. It is totally, completely draining for me. And so that was one of those areas where we had to grow and learn to respect and understand each other, of like, okay, this is something you need. God made you this way. I don't know why yet, but I'm trusting he's going to use it for his good and his glory. But in the meantime, like, it's exhausting me. And so I also take things very literally. And so having to learn for myself, like, oh, I don't need to get all upset about this. They're not serious. And I still have to process and be like, they're not serious. Don't respond to that. But learning that instead of just continuing to overreact or squelching their personality because I can't handle it, I can handle it. I just need to learn to grow and see what I need in those situations and, put boundaries around. I'll argue with you for this long, or I'll argue with you about these topics, because it is exhausting for me. So that was a way that one of my children was definitely part of shaping me in where he was so different from me. So I do believe that God made our children to push our buttons like nobody else because he wants us to grow. And it's worth it. And if you learn to press into, why do I feel this way? Why do I have a problem? Why does this rub me wrong? Why am I struggling with this? To see, is it an area that you need to mature? Is it an area that you need some healing? And I could link to a video on overreacting that talks about those overreactions where kids push our buttons and we overreact to that, is often areas that need to be healed and need attention in our own spirits and souls. So I will link to that. And if this is helpful, like the video, share it with a friend. Please subscribe to the channel so you get new videos, and just leave a comment below. Have your kids pushed your buttons the most in the ways that they're like you or the ways that they're opposite from you? And remember that your healing heals generations.